The art of warfare.
Member uniform 67312095751 over.
Hello, my name is Dreamcap, and welcome to the third video in the series on bare bones mission making in DCS World. In today's video, we're going to have a look at the environment of the mission and what options you have of modifying it to make different experiences for the pilots and for the players. So we'll go back into the mission editor and we will open up the mission that we already have. And I'm going to click this green fly mission glyph and go right into it and spawn into one of the aircraft. And we'll see that it's a pretty clear day. We have the sun pretty much up ahead. No big clouds to talk about. Doesn't seem to be too much wind. Nice day for flying, but not very much happening. So we're going to jump back out and see what we can do about this. As we have a look in the mission briefing window over here by clicking the button directly under MIS, we see that we have a few different fields. The one that I'm going to concentrate on right now is this set of fields which says when the actual mission will start. So we see here that it's going to start on the 1st of June 2011 at 12 noon. And here is where we set our different variants. I can set, instead of June, we could set January and save the mission and go back and see how will this affect the overall environment of the simulation. The first thing we see is that the sun is significantly lower, which is normal considering that it's actually very much closer to the horizon. We can also see that there is snow on the mountains and in the terrain. There's not much snow on the actual space, but you can definitely see that the whole place gives a colder feeling. So this is one of the systems that you can use to get some variety in how the terrain looks and feels. Of course, we can also switch around other things. We can select, for instance, to go different times a day. So instead of 12 noon, let's say 3 p.m. 1500. Save and go back in. And now it should be dusk, if not already after dusk. Well, not quite dusk, but we get in here and we can see that the sun has moved, of course, since we are facing south, and it's actually gone down a bit. So we can hop back out, increase the time to 6 p.m. and we go back in, and now we should be really in the setting. And here we see that the sun has all but vanished at the horizon. It's gonna drop down really soon. And we also see that the lighting is going to be corresponding to this. Naturally, we can even set the time to be even later, let's say 2200 hours or 10 p.m. and this will make our mission into the dead of night. And that of course means that I will not be able to view a lot at all. I'm actually going to have to put on some landing lights and running lights on my aircraft in order to actually see what I'm doing. So that's how you can change time of day and time of season. Now of course, just having time of day and time of season is one thing, but if we go back to 12 noon, we actually would like to have some changing weathers. We would like to have some serious clouds, we may want some fog, precipitation of some sort, and so on. And that is done on the weather options. Here we can see that we have a bunch of different settings for temperature, for clouds and atmosphere, precipitation, if we want that, wind, directions and speeds, turbulence, fog, and so on. We also have the opportunity not only to set the static weather, which will be all over the entire map, but we can also set a dynamic weather, where we can actually have different wind speeds and different pressures over various parts of the terrain. Now, a word of warning here, dynamic weather can be quite taxing on the clients, and if you have a bunch of clients that maybe not really have the highest spec of hardware, they're gonna experience some pretty poor, quite frankly, frame rates. So my suggestion, at least for the beginning, is to stick with static weather. And how to set that up? Well, we actually have one very good help in here, and that is down at the bottom half of this field. We have the default weather setting, and in this we can actually load and even save our own weather templates. So if I click here and I choose, for instance, we have the 1st of January, high noon, I go down, I can choose autumn, spring, summer. Let's go with winter, clouds and wind. Let's see how that looks. And I press load, and you can see that everything is shifted. So conditions are now -1 degrees. We have a cloud base at 800 meters, and the clouds are going to stretch another 800 meters above that, with a density of 5 on a scale from 1 to 10, or 0 to 10, but this is halfway through. We don't have any precipitation. We can choose to have snow if we want to. We can also see the QNH is different, and we have some different winds of different speeds and different directions. We also got a bit of turbulence, which will have an effect on how our plane moves, especially when we fly close to the ground. We still haven't enabled the fog yet, but let's have a look at how this setup looks if we go into the mission. And we're going to do the same thing, just hop into the SU-25T and have a look-see. And now we can see that we have not only the clear sky, but we've got some pretty nice clouds in here, and if we get aloft, we'll also see that we have quite a bit of wind. And of course, flying through the clouds is, well, it can certainly be done. Just be aware that you won't be seeing anything really. So don't fly in close formation in clouds unless you fly really close formation, in which case you are, well, that's up to you. So, last thing I want to show you is what if we actually enable some fog. We'll do let's do a 500 meter visibility. This is kind of the setting of how dense the fog is going to be. And thickness is how high above the ground it's going to go. So let's go 100 meters. And naturally, you don't always have to use the sliders. You can just punch in the numbers. There we go. And I'll save, and let's jump back in and have a look at how this is. And now we see that we have quite the fog layer around us. And this can actually be quite a challenging condition to fly in, especially at takeoff and landings, and if you are making low-level attacks on ground targets. Because, as you can see, actually spotting the targets will not be the most easiest thing to do. And that is the short and sweet version of how to set about the scenario, set about the terrain, set about the environment in order to create a diverse flight sim experience in DCS World. And with that, I thank you for watching. I hope you find this useful, and I wish you all a good day, good night, good whatever.